Monsieur Kamenski is bringing his coffin. I was so glad that he was able to come to you.
I shall be there with white roses tomorrow at 4 o'clock.
How strange. You should have seen somebody die. I never have. Makes you older than me. Oh, that you should have been alone to bear this horror.
Never mind that. It wasn't anything that I couldn't manage.
But your grandfather will be angry with me where he is. He'll think I behaved badly towards your father.
If Grandpapa does know anything about it where he is now, I should think he'd feel that Daddy had behaved quite badly to you.
But I should have said more to him than just goodbye, Edward.
Well, it did seem a bit terse.
But I can't say anything of the things I really feel. What's unbearable to me is that I'm still beautiful. I can't say that. It sounds like vanity. It shows you how impossible it is to be a woman. And so life depends on one's looks, and yet one may not speak of one's own beauty. One may not say either that it's especially galling if one's husband leaves one for a woman who is not as nice as one is oneself. That would be counted as vanity, too. Was it this man on the train the professor spoke about that made your grandfather ill?
No, I don't think so.
Must have been something that mattered to him.
How's Grandmama?
What? Oh, I don't need to worry about her. She is in pain, but it won't be for long. It's this treatment they're giving her, something called radium. She was frightened at first. That's why I couldn't leave her when I heard about your grandfather. But I did try to help you. I telephoned home again and again and told them to find your father. They tried at the House of Commons, but the whip said he'd been paired.
So he wasn't at the house.
So then I humbled myself and I telephoned her house. She wasn't there.
Mrs. Staunton.
Then I was tortured. You see, somebody once wrote me an anonymous letter, and I read the beginning and I tore it out, but I'd read enough to know yesterday that if I had finished it, I'd have known where she and your father were. I was being punished for obeying the rules I'd been brought up to keep. But your grandfather, tell me everything, Laura. I loved him so.
Well, got into bed at the hotel, and I sat with him, and he talked and talked.
He left you in a strange place with my father, who was dying. He's afraid I'll ruin his career by divorcing him. I shan't do that. I just feel I can't live with him anymore. And I think what might have happened, suppose the terrorists had been there. Do you understand?
Yes.
So I sent Monsieur Kamenski to you because I couldn't come myself. How soon did he get there?
After I'd gone to bed. And of course, he wanted to know all about Grandfather. He sat in my room for hours and hours.
Was that all right?
Why? Do you think that it might not have been?
It wasn't.
Fairly. He just sat about and cried, said how much he'd cared for Grandfather. And I got sleepy, and some people barged into the room, and I asked him to go.
He was in your bedroom?
No, Mummy. They put a camp bed in the salon, and Nurse was asleep on the sofa. Really, Mummy.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not as clever as I was. I really was worried about the terrorists. This man who spoke to your grandfather on the train, who was he?
Well, it's quite a long story.
Is that your father?
It's all right. gone.
Oh, Laura.
It's all right, Mummy.
You were saying...
Was I?
Oh, yes, about this stranger who spoke to your grandfather.
Oh, he was just a man. Someone who'd known him in Russia. I didn't hear much. Grandfather sent me to another compartment so they could talk. When the man called me back, Grandfather was shouting about getting off the train.
Wonder who he was. Monsieur Kamensky would have known. Oh, he's been so kind. He telephoned to say that he's bringing your grandfather's body back to Paris. And he'll be here himself at the apartment tomorrow afternoon.
Yes, at 4 o'clock.
He even reminded me about the blind man who visits your grandfather. His wife's a qualified candle-bearer, so she can recite the Psalms over the body. If it's done by somebody who knows him, it won't seem quite so dreary.
Yes, sounds do rather twaddle on.
Oh, I can't enjoy ritual. I'm just too rational and ordinary.
People say things like that. Other people say, tell that to the Marines. I wonder why.
Ask your father.
Dear God, if there was some way.
Oh, we Russians pray too much. God must be sick of hearing us. Give him a rest. Come and see the little dressmaker. She has your morning almost finished.
Be careful of the pins, mademoiselle.
Now, Miss Laura.
Goodness.
What is it?
So all overish.
Oh, it's very nicely made. Just one thing, this dart here needs attention. It's a little longer than the other one, a slightly different angle.
Yes, madame. I see.
Noam is so clever at this kind of thing. She and Helene have worked like beavers. There, now, the rest of it. Mademoiselle? Ah.
Is that right?
Oh, my dear, we can't help it. Our hair won't go into mourning. Otherwise, it's all perfect.
Just stand still a moment, mademoiselle, so I can do the hem.
No, Miss Juliet's